Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map, and in this video I'd like to tell you a short story that happened to me recently. I don't know if you know James Wanless. He's the creator of Voyager Tarot and the whole system of studies. He has this beautiful courses, and also online you can purchase for like $50 his course, which was like a prerequisite to his other courses. It's like like a workbook kind of type with explanation of all the symbols used in his deck and amazing exploration. Like, he's so creative. But anyhow, James is it's being sick right now. He's got cancer, and I recently received one of his newsletters and just paid in some money for his recovery, to keep him supported, because obviously he supports himself through readings, so when he's in hospital he can't really talk right now. It's been just hard on him. So I thought, I never really studied with James, but I was always fascinated and inspired by his work. So I just paid in some money for through PayPal to his account. And I got like a thank you email from James, and we have a little exchange of like some conversations about, mapping and working with tarot. And he's really inspiring. So I hope I can get him on Inspired Tarot Map when he will be able to talk again. But what this exploration kind of brought to me is, is that I pulled his deck again. And I remember when I was younger, one of my first tarot readings was actually with the Voyager deck. My friend has this deck, and she's done a reading for me with this deck and with Rider-Waite-Smith, I think, and some oracle cards. So maybe I even, really can say that maybe I read how I read because of this first reading, when she has done a lot of cards and she used a lot of different decks. So I thought right now maybe that my style kind of came out of there. I wasn't afraid to use many decks, but his deck is, as you can see, very collagey. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but this deck is really great for creative writing. I remember even before I knew much about tarot, I used to pull one of the cards and just write different associations I had with all the different images and pictures, and it's just a very fascinating deck in itself, and it's got a lot of messages, and also it's a system in itself, which is really cool. So you won't find, like, it's obviously a tarot, but it's different. So what I wanted to show you is this. I pulled one archetype, and then I pulled word for today. It's called time space in this deck. And we can see, like meditating people. We can see some kind of explosions, some like illumination, moon phases, birds. So in this course, which you can purchase for like $50 from his website, he writes about all of the symbols here. And then what he does, the eye is a seed from which grows our reality. So we create through our consciousness. The eye symbolizes consciousness. This reading helps you to see and in turn create. So then through all the different symbols, he just gives us different ideas, sentences, questions, keywords that we can use in reading. So for this particular reading that I want to do in this video, I wanted to use this time as space as our exit point, and then I thought I'm going to use some of the questions that James provides. So what I wanted to use is the phase I am in, cycle I am on, and then self-navigation, kind of like a keyword for self-navigation, what navigates me right now, state of perfection, what would be, the ideal kind of outcome, and space to see. maybe I should take a little bit more, you know, space. So I'm going to write down the questions underneath. So let's just maybe use for fun Tarot of the She, because I have been pulling recently all these decks that I used to use before. And Tarot of the She is one of, you know, it used to be one of my favorite decks, and it's such a great deck. Any deck by Emily Harding, I think it's interesting. It's unique, and it's very very original. So let's go. Phase I am in. We know that time space, so the World card speaks a lot about wholeness, about completion, about, you know, moving through, finishing one cycle and moving through another threshold. So let's see. Moon phases. Phase I am in. So he's referring to the moon phases here. Phase I am in. And we're going to put maybe these cards. Phase I am in. And so here we have Temperance. And on this particular card, I always kind of see, I don't know, this behind that kind of angel fairy she, I see like a skull. So to me, that has a lot to do with finding your roots, finding the ancestral, like a bone, you know, what's in your bones. But also, as in Temperance, we have this balance and the active. You know, justice always feels to me like this kind of natural sense of balance and this right and wrong and black and white. Whereas Temperance feels more like really putting an effort into achieving a balance. It's like the sacred marriage between fire and water. And here we have also this kind of solar gate that you can cross, but it's like overseen by this kind of lunar deity in some way. So I think the phase I am in as Temperance is the conscious seeking of balance, is a conscious adjustment that I have to make right now to figure out where the, you know, the sacred marriage is, where the philosopher's stones lies in my life. Cycle I'm on. So what cycle I'm on? And I'm going to probably shuffle a little bit between each of the questions. So what cycle am I on? So this is to the moon phases, so it's kind of like maybe a little bit shorter. You know, moon changes phases more regularly. Sun phases, it's a little bit maybe more general. So what cycle I am on right now in my solar journey. And we have Dancer 4, and it's vain reflection. So, you know, what comes to mind is a little bit of Narcissus, right? Or it's four of Cups. And Cups are, you know, Four of Cups, it's usually like, really, I don't particularly like that card because it usually shows the satisfaction. It shows like a little bit of, you know, whatever attitude. I'm not inspired. I don't know what I see. And here, it's rather than having a cup being handed over to you, she's got somebody, like another person, kind of trying to reach out to her. So I think the phase I am in, the cycle I'm on, whenever I see Four of Cups or Four of Dancer, four in this case, I think of working with gratitude. And it's always noticing what it is that you have in your life and what it is that is actually there, rather than constantly kind of going further, you know, grass is greener somewhere else, I want something more, I'm not happy with what I have. And because our culture, I think, generally pushes us for more and more and more, the Four of Cups, it's kind of fairly uncomfortable card, and we have to put quite a lot of conscious effort to actually feel happy where we are, with our challenges, with our joys, with our sorrows. So it's quite a interesting intersection here between these two. Solar wheel, so self-navigation now. When I think of solar wheel, I think obviously of astrology, but self-navigation, so what aspect of of the solar wheel is helping me? What helps me to navigate through these cycles? The Lovers. So, when I see the Lovers, it's major arcana, it's white and black, it's solar and lunar, I straight away think of my relationship, right? And my partner and my husband, with whom I have, in my opinion, a fairly great relationship. So I think the relationship itself helps me to navigate, because you always, when you're in a relationship, good or bad, you're usually faced with very strong mirror. So you can't get away with projecting shit onto your partner ongoing. At some point they will turn back, take the sword and say, hey, get over yourself and deal with your shit, So I think personal relationships are great for showing off what it is that you are maybe missing, to pointing towards your shadow and stuff like this. So I think for self-navigation, being in a relationship in this case really helps me to figure out, where that balance is and what can I be grateful for. And obviously when you're in a working relationship, it helps you also to keep balance, and if your relationship is supportive, if you can be yourself in your relationship, if you feel embraced in your relationship, that also keeps the person can sometimes, even when you kind of losing your way, they can pull you back onto the right track. And then the last two cards, one is the state of perfection. So what would be the state of perfection right now? What would be my world card? What is the state of perfection that I'm maybe trying to achieve at this moment in time? And this is Maker King, so it's the gift of skill. I think makers are pentacles, and he is creating. Is it the pentacles? Let me just check. I'm just really curious. Maker, dreamers, warriors, dancers, or maybe dreamer, dancer. I think this is the Four of Swords. Four of... dancers is water. No, that's okay. And Maker is Earth. Yeah, so this is Maker King. And she says here, it's humble, hardworking, respected, accomplished, perfectionist, and pragmatic. All he has, he makes his own, the carpenter of his own throne, the smith who forges his own crown and earns his status and renown. So that's pretty cool. So state of perfection, I think it's the gift of skill. So how can I use my skills? I love the little kind of poem which says he makes his own throne, he makes his own crown, he makes whatever he touches his own. In some sense, maybe keeping this balance, remembering the gratitude, really seeing, as the self-navigation tool, using my relationships as self-navigation tool and, a mirror, helps me to achieve, and kind of crown myself in my own kingdom and whatever I want to create. So state of perfection for me would be, I think, some form of material manifestation and visible effects of my work. You know how sometimes we work towards something and we're just not sure if that brings the effects or not. So here we have this Maker King as the pentacles, and this is the state of perfection. That's where I think right now I kind of, would think that's where that I would like it to lead me to. And then Zen Garden is space to see. So sometimes when we follow our dreams and, blah, 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 want to manifest stuff and we're entrepreneurial and we do things, we sometimes forget to stop. And this is the Zen Garden. It's space to see. So what else is there that I might not be seeing, or where should I make some more space to see? And this is the Dancer, which is Ace of Ace of Cups. So it's water element. It's not my, strongest element. I don't have, I think I don't have much water. I have Uranus in Scorpio in my chart, and that's it. And I have North Node in Scorpio. So there is definitely, with North Node being in water sign, a strong emphasis that I should, in some way or another, realign a little bit more with water energy. But I have a lot of fire and air, so water is not comfortable for me. But at the same time, this is quite an active water from the picture, right? It's not like she's dancing, she's kind of connected, she's like coming from the drop of water. There's sun rays in here. So I think space to see is really to move fluently through my emotions at this emotional state. And I always keep to notice that, emotions are our guiding points. That's where they lead us. That's why we have them. They show us what's not working. They show us what's working. Sometimes they play tricks on us, so you have to be careful, with your emotional states, because sometimes you can be very, it can twist you. Emotions can twist you if you're not aware, or if you're not conscious enough. You can, go into the drama state, and really then it's no point of following your emotions, because you will be running in crazy circles. But at this particular space, Zen Garden, space to see, for me a good advice is to see more water and involve, watch my emotions. We know that this is the cycle I'm on, is also the water card, the Four of Cups. So there is a slight connection between these two cards, right? To work with this gratitude, to actually be present to my emotions, rather than go on to the I'm so bored, or I'm not sure what you want, I don't know if I'm good enough, or whatever explanations we have here. And fours are usually stable numbers, so the cycle I'm on, it's okay, right? But that's where the hardship comes in, because that's when you have to really pay close attention to what's working, what's not working, where you maybe let go of, and this kind of understanding of what you already have in life, and constantly push forward when there is some emotional dissatisfaction. And these can be valid points to look out for, especially in the mirror of the relationships. So this is something that maybe you can try and do, as well in your own home with your own cards. This is based, as I said, on James Wanless. How do you pronounce his name? I always have, I'm under the impression that I'm mispronouncing. James Wanless, I think that's how we say it. Yeah. So this is his website, James Wanless. James Wanless, life navigator and mentor. I got really inspired by his work. His work with Voyager system is really cool, and so I highly recommend checking out his website and what he did. And if you have this tarot deck, it's worth spending the $50 on his class. And this is exactly, I show you what it is. It is this Voyager Star Tree PDF. That's what it is. It costs $49.95, and it's 400-page PDF. It's the original Voyager certification correspondence course, and also ultimate reference book for all the symbols in every card. And the Star Tree demonstrates the Voyager growth path from seed, from the full, to roots, major archetypes and corresponding minor suits 1 to 10, to trunk, the family cards, and branches, major cards, and finally the fruition, major card 1721. So there's a whole system which he shares with us, and I found it really fascinating. And I also found fascinating how we connected through this email. It's quite an interesting story. Just to finish off, I got connected to two amazing male tarot readers through the world, or through my name, Tarot Map. One is Vincent Pitisci, which I did the interview with. His domain was called Tarot Maps. So we only had like one letter difference between our names. And Vincent also uses tarot as mapping the mind, mapping, different options and possibilities with tarot. And then when I, as I said, paid something for James's fund for when he's sick now, he wrote me also asking about tarot map, like what's the name tarot map means to me. And that's how we started conversation and conversing about all of this. So I found it really fascinating that, tarot map is like bringing all this beautiful sacred masculine energy that seems quite like healthy and strong and creative into my life. So that's what I wanted to share with you, and I wanted to share about James's work. So please take a look, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.